was more important than my obvious distress. And when I asked you to leave, in a voice so much smaller than my own, you just kept insisting that you'd stopped without resisting. Never mind my fear persisting or the reason it's forever existing. Sometimes it feels like to be a woman who sleeps with men is to invite the lion between your legs, straddling a powder keg. Because the math is just not mathing as the numbers keep amassing of the men who keep trespassing on our bodies without asking. All the sexual harassing, well, these men are still half-assing change and never once progressing or processing that it is their silence that is the most deafening. It's a miracle of math that every woman knows, because we can count the victims we know on all our fingers and toes. But the men in our lives never seem to themselves know a single perpetrator. Tell me, how can that be so?
Let's keep it going for Kelly Mary McAllister. Judges, are you ready to do some math? 3, 2, 1, scores up. We have an 8.7, a 9.2, a 9.2, an 8.9, and a 9.6. Let's keep it going. So on deck we have Melodrama, but coming up to the mic right now we have Aaliyah.
I think back to middle school. I believe I was 12 when my best friend told me that she had a secret. Made me promise up front I was going to keep it, and I was pleased. I reminisced on it all week, wondering what boy she liked and who he could be, so I was a bit taken back when she rolled up her sleeves and said she really needs someone to help her get clean. Why do middle schools not teach about mental health? That was her opening essay line, and the question I ask myself all the goddamn time, why do middle schools not teach about mental health? It's a sensitive subject. That was their answer, but they went on and on teaching about cancer as if they're not just both a sickness. One I would have loved to respond to with a little more quickness, but instead I was given a pamphlet, bullet points 1 through 7. I wonder if 8 or 9 would have helped me keep another angel out of heaven. Why do middle schools not teach about mental health? They said we'll start in high school, and I think that's great, but I walk through every worst case scenario before I reach grade 8, and I get they're not professionals. I know that there's no guide, but I had prevented one before I was taught to call it suicide. Why do middle schools not teach about mental health? They said we're too young to be sick, and there weren't enough cases, but I knew like 8 girls with blades in the backs of phone cases, and I hate to shift blame, but it means the world to me. Band-Aids half heal when you're bleeding internally, and I wonder how many more kids we're going to watch die before we genuinely start asking ourselves, why do middle schools not teach about mental health? They say our healthcare systems have failed us, at least in terms of mental health. If you don't believe them, you can take it from someone like myself. I think back to high school sometime. I believe I was 16, had a lot better of an understanding of what this sort of thing could mean. Got a call from a friend to say he'd been suffering quietly, was hospitalized and diagnosed with generalized anxiety, and I wish there's more that I could say, but I guess that's our society and how we raise our men up just to suffocate them quietly. They say our society has failed us, at least in terms of mental health. If you don't believe them, you can take it from someone like myself. I think early university, I believe it was first year, and I'd met another that I began to hold dear. She said, I hate this mind of mine and the way that I was built. I watched her hollow out her insides just to house new room for guilt, and we don't talk as often now, but I'll never forget her and the way we learned to exchange grief back and forth like love letters. They say our society has failed us, at least in terms of mental health. If you don't believe them, you can take it from someone like myself. I've helped save 4 lives, and I've yet to turn 23. If you're wondering who the last one is, I'll tell you that it's me.
Let's keep it going for Aaliyah. Judges, I bet you know what I'm going to ask you. Probably for your scores, though, right? Yeah, so could we do that? Let's do that. 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.5, an 8.6, a 9.3, a 9.1, and a 9.3. Let's keep it going for Elia. So on deck we have Lindsay, but now we are going to keep this energy going for melodrama.
I never write about my rape because my friend never got the chance to write about hers. As I write this, I think of my friend whose rape costed her her life. How could I write about myself and complain about how I was laid on gravel rather than a bed, or that I was in an alleyway rather than a room? How dare I think that was bad? How young was I to think that saying no was enough to get me out of the arms of someone dying to latch me between their teeth? The answer is 15. The answer just doesn't seem young enough to me, like at least I wasn't 5. Like the little girls that would call me when I worked for a helpline, telling me that daddy gets more aggressive when they fight back. I never had the heart to tell a child to just lay there and let it happen, but sometimes you lay there and let it happen. Because you were told that there was worse to be felt. And that's why the second time he raped me, and when he asked me if I felt like I was raped, I told him I didn't. Because I only bled a little bit, and it could have been so much worse. So I thanked him. I thanked him for asking, thanked him for wanting me so badly he couldn't wait to know if I wanted him. And when I told my mother, she told me I was lucky. Said it was a blessing to be wanted so badly. Last New Year's, I went to the bathroom to pee. And this man from the party knocks on the bathroom door. As I open the door to leave, he pushes me in with him, forces a canine-like embrace upon my liquor-soaked lips, and as I tried to push him away, as I contested being molested, he swallowed my tongue, growled as he dug his way deeper into my mouth as if to dig all the hope I had left in my heart. I learned to always give a man what they want if you want to survive. So I danced my lips around with his until he was satisfied enough to gift me my tongue. I caught my breath with shaking hands and told him, I'm not that kind of girl. Language he would understand, that I'm not the kind of girl to give it away the first night, but rather the one to get it taken from her. I was lucky. He let me go. And I thanked him. I thanked him. As I write this, I don't see this as a poem. I don't see this as inspirational, as a traumatic event, as something worth mentioning. As I write this, I feel like a snob, like a rich kid asking for more. Who am I to deserve more when every woman's biggest secret starts with I was raped and ends with, but it wasn't that bad. Who am I to think I should be exempt from the inevitable, that my body should remain untouched in a battlefield full of women who have had it so much worse? I know it must be hard for men to understand why I'd be thankful for the rape that I had. Because almost every single woman will be raped, and God blessed me with one that didn't take my life away. I didn't get to pick my rape. But if I could, I would dig my friend out of her grave and trade with her because she was far too fucking perfect to die. As I write this, I count my blessings. At least I was inside. At least I was drunk. At least I wasn't bleeding. At least he didn't kill me. That night on New Year's Eve, I thanked a man because he didn't kill me.
One more time for melodrama. Okay, judges. How are we feeling about our night so far? That's a weird thing to ask after that. No, I'm sorry. That was an ill-timed question. Strike that from the record. Please just hold yourselves close and put up your scores. Okay, so we have a 8.8, a 9.0, an 8.9, a 9.4, and a 9.7. So on deck we have Blue Jay Walker, but coming up next, what? Oh, time. Damn you, linear time, or fuck you, linear time. Most of us are adults. 3:37. Yeah, Colonial Construct. Unfortunately, like I said, one we are using, so that is too bad. With that said, let's applaud the poet, not the time. And on deck, we've got Blue Jay Walker coming up right now. We've got Lindsay.
How to exist with a vagina in a world that wants to control it. Rule number 1. Google is gospel. Home diagnosed UTIs and cranberry juice remedies. Google strokes are 2 a.m. anxieties like, why does my discharge look like that? Or is it normal for the left lip to be a little longer than the right? Type into the search bar to avoid choking on the shame in the back of your throat. Some questions are better left unspoken. See, the subject of vaginas is often a practice in tightrope walking, balancing a body both fantasy and taboo. Rule number 2, when referring to a vagina, say things like flower or cookie. Remember to make your body less uncomfortable, more consumable. Pluck the sinew from the word pussy so it doesn't get caught in his teeth. Rule number 3, just because your doctor has a vagina, it doesn't mean they won't invalidate all of your problems too. My feet dangle off the hospital bed like a child. Paper crinkling beneath me, doctor shrugs, says having a uterus is painful business. Go home, take an aspirin. In the sterile hallways of healthcare, you are only ever hysteric. Growing up, our bodies are just one more transactional commodity, a possession, a pit stop, a punching bag for bruised egos to assert their dominance. Gendered violence is an institution raised by social constructs like virginity, by a culture of false purity, surrounded by constant violent vocabulary. I was a piece of meat to nail or screw. I didn't know my own vagina from a hole in the wall. Rule number 4, know the difference. A hole describes a surface that has a piece missing, a hollow place, a chunk taken. There are no pieces missing here. No square peg to be jammed in. I am not a flower awaiting pollination, not a bucket with a chip in the bottom. My body is not damaged or incomplete. My vagina does not make me empty. And I used to hate my body because I didn't understand my body, because I was never supposed to. You see, if knowledge is power, this pussy is pedagogy. That's why we are dangerous. Rule number 5. Fuck the rules. The rules were our safe haven from the laws and the people and the doctors that never protected us. But from now on, I'm gonna be cocky, because our bodies and our knowledge is life-giving, world-building, and just like we have raised up generations century after century after century, we can also tear it all to pieces.
Let's keep it going for Lindsay. Judges. Scores. 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.4, a 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.5, and a 9.7. So on deck, we've got just Jess, but coming up next, we've got Blue Jay Walker. Let's keep those applause rolling.
I propose a mandatory year of vagrancy. Now, before you pull out pitchforks and torches to protest my apparent duplicity after saying that those who sell wandering as a means to be aloof should not be allowed, I'm proposing a practical year of service as a drifter without proof. We've too quickly assumed the natural pattern for living involves collecting evidence of your everyday spent breathing, fabricating, free of charge, a DIY panopticon. Who needs CCTV? We have social media, an always-on and synchronized security camera attached to your own self-worth. I think we need a mandatory year to put our hearts back in the dirt, teach us how to cover our tracks, disappear into the thicket, operate under fake names, but find the work is still real with grime flaked beneath our fingertips. The fissures in our fictions told in 15-second videos only fling us further afield from our fellow man, but I have never been closer to the enemy and discovered him a friend than when I had to hitchhike through the country and take any stranger's hand. So I propose a year of vagrancy made mandatory from now on. Why not? They make them into soldiers other countries over, hardened into gunmetal steel, a nation of fireproof individuals, brickwork faces, no weeping left to be had. They are a weapon well planned, but I want a country and culture constructed entirely of carnival freaks with skinned knees and bruised attitudes, pride riddled with road rash, soaked shoes through until they feel bones bend, become crooked sails in the wind until they know the real distance of the industrial section, have walked it to its bitter end and come to understand we are a nation of coffee chains and witty slogans rotting on the vine. I want souls that have discovered in earnestness our desires will disappoint us, yet still the search towards them is divine. Folks who have grown a thumb so long it can break through clouds and signal God for a ride across mystic towns. I declare a year proper. On some such birthdays, they feel so prepared they will be flung off of porch stoops with beat packs and hand-drawn maps that are entirely wrong, intentionally so. With ancestral songs of the lost and alive, we will raise them into strangers with beautiful eyes, wise like clouds, free to disappear as they please, making pit stops to provinces and provinces to pit stops, raise them kindred to the rain, knowing the clear cause of hope is only ever necessity, who has mothered many odd creations, knowing the joy of mountains left unconquered, but ever in peripheral vision. We will raise them into wanderers, ramblers who cannot be stopped because the traveler's grave is shallow and only ever used to weather the storm. So soon they will crawl out to clear skies with soul sharpened by road beat and handshake and homemade heart pain. They will pick up all they need and discover it is nothing but to be alive and awake and away. A generation of vagrants again and again and again.
Let's keep it going for Blue Jay Walker. And judges, and again, and again, and again. Can I get your scores up, please? Do we need a little dance set? Oh, no, we're good. We're good. So good. Okay, so we have a 9.7, a 9.8, a 9.2, an 8.9, and a 10. That big 10 is a cool point, but can we still applaud the poetry? Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, so on deck we have to hear up now, we have Just Jess. Let's keep that energy going.
Baby girl, those red flags are not meant for decoration. They are not curtains that you valance along the windows of your life, not doilies you place along your coffee table underneath the floral arrangements he didn't buy for you. They are not to accumulate in your laundry, rinse through the cold cycle, somehow accidentally tie-dyeing your load of whites, and like their originator, ruining everything. Those red flags are not meant to be neatly folded amongst your towels, rolled up with precision, waiting for guests in the linen closet of your heart. My dear, those red flags are not meant to be compiled, preserved under glass like artifacts for future generations. They are not to be maintained at appropriate temperature or humidity to avoid degradation of the fabrics, noted and cataloged and examined under microscope until they seem so important that no one questions why you have them all in the first place. My little love, Those red flags are not special edition, one-of-a-kind collectibles, and they cannot be kept in the boxes you found them, mint condition until they're listed for sale on eBay. Believe me, you are not gonna profit from this. They are not unique patches for the holes in your relationship. They are not special. They're exactly the same shade of anger. Traffic light crimson meant to make you stop. So stop, my sweet darling, allowing them to accumulate until they're overwhelming. Remember, you are more powerful than flags, so instead upcycle them into an upgrade for your own personal use. Use them as drop cloths to cover your flooring, protecting it from any other future guest who may have muddy boots. Make them into napkins, serviettes, hankies, mop the corner of your Cheshire cat smile after a particularly satisfying meal. Toss them in the bucket with all of the Mr. Clean, strip them of color but not of use as you magic erase away the mess he made of your world. Crumple them into balls and shove them directly up his shoes. Stuff the toe boxes of his boots with every one he attempted to force you to accept. Put those shoes the rest of his shit and then send them all packing. My love, those red flags are not meant for you, so use them, burn them, return them, so you can make room for everything that is.
Let's keep it going for just Jess. Oh, good. You're all still here. Because there's a whole other bout after this that's going to be equally as fantastic. 24 poets. Can you believe it? That's really impressive, you guys. Yeah. Yeah. Remarkable. Judges. I always forget the scores. 3, 2, 1. Throw them up. We have an 8.7, an 8.9, a 9.0, an 8.8, and a 9.4. So on deck we have Shami, but coming up to the mic now we have Tahira.
I meet Eve on the ED unit at 15, and I could tell you about her pity or her wrath, the way her gaze clashes with my collarbone, the way she stares at the sacrilege of what I have done to this body. But Eve is all woman and understanding, the kind of wisdom that is learnt, not just knowledge you pluck from the tree. And Eve looks me in the eyes, knows I am more than just an altar or a vessel for sacrifice. Eve says, do you think you are the first to try and starve the desire out of you? Eve says, try a more original sin. She says she is tired of hearing my hunger echo all the way to Eden, between the bars of the song of the heart monitor. I tell her what I think to be the truth then, but the truth then was young, just like me. I tell her I would give up all of this wanting to be wanted, and Eve could have laughed then, could have told me what a waste it is to be longed for only in your meekest form, when your mouth is always empty, always ready to be filled with the words he wants to hear. Eve could have told me about mercy, or rather the centuries it would take to forgive yourself for how you stomached the worst of them in your blind wanting, heart salivating for anything to fill its gutted chambers. But instead, she tells me of what it is like to be thin with the unknowing, how brittle your bones feel when you do not understand that you were made for more than a man. She feeds me the bittersweet truth that I am dying, and how weightless a ghost, but how unloved her haunting. Eve says this behavior is unbecoming of women of my lineage. She means her daughters, of course. She says I come from a long line of girls hungry and unafraid to want, to take, to eat. Damn the consequences, damn the whispers and the weight. And it is Eve, the woman called sinner, for daring to eat her fill, the woman called disobedient for daring to reach for a destiny other than the one that was plated for her. And it is Eve who is more than what they let her be, asking me what I want to be, and the answer isn't hungry, and it isn't small, and it isn't even wanted, and maybe it never was. And I ask her what I've always been too afraid to ask God. I ask her, what if I eat and it is not enough? What if I am black hole? What if I devour galaxies and am still left hungry, left with this empty carving its initials into my rib cage? And Eve is honest with me in the way my own mirror never was, tells me it will never be enough, but it is no sin to eat, tells me I do not deserve to go hungry. And so, in the aftermath of desire, when the seams of my clothes and my skin and my life all pull taut in synchronicity, I look in the mirror and I see my mother. I see Eve. I see something beautiful. And at dinner, I lick my plate clean and ask for more.
Let's keep it going for Tahira. We're not judging on this, but I do love a head to toe floral. So that doesn't don't let that influence you. It's just like my own opinion. Okay. So, judges, we know what's happening now, right? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, we have a 9.5, a 9.5, a 9.1, a 9.6, and a 9.8. We've got Chantal DC on deck, but in the meantime, let's keep that energy going for Shami.
With pressures to stay slim, clear-skinned, and happy becoming too much, within myself I feel out of touch. Finding comfort in actions that'll destroy me, the caloric calculator sandwich between regret and redemption, binging, purging, beard covered in breakfast, fingers coated in bile. I'm okay, I'm sound, I'm not in denial, days turn to night, and the realization that my baby fat isn't just baby fat, it's adult fat, your fat, F-A-T, eat your own words. I'm not hungry. Maybe if I keep on pushing my fingers as far back as possible, I'll swallow them and it'll stop. Maybe one day starvation will be enough. Maybe one day I'll turn the faucet off. Like a flea to a bitch, I'm the scratch you love to itch because you know I'll fight back, ready, get set, attack. Little do I realize the only thing I'm attacking are my tonsils, the guns, my fingers, the bullets and my jabs, until the thing that explodes is the vomit out of my mouth. You pump through my veins, travel around my body and lead right to my stomach. Like a hand clawing from my gut, reaching through my stained teeth, you grab a hold of anything you can get your hands on. Bedroom floor covered in empty wrappers and cartons, my gluttony disgusts me, but I can't stop. You're defined by BMI, not what's on the inside, but what does it matter when your insides aren't pretty? More gastric acid in my windpipe than my stomach surviving in deficit, weighing myself 14 times a day after every meal. Every time I go for a number 1 or a number 2, 3 pounds down, not good enough. Gotta keep going. Pound after pound disappearing, people ignore what they want to. Selective hearing is deafening. How do I tell them that I'm doing great? And I'm feeling better when I haven't reached that point. That there's more to life than being skinny, but skinny is the dragon I've chased for so long. I threw my laxatives away this morning, and the devil on my shoulder made me buy more on my lunch break. The angel has got so sick of trying to steer me clear, she grants me full reign. It's like everyone's deaf or acting oblivious. I'm 21 and I don't know how to look after myself. It's like my body matured, but my bad habits didn't. It's okay, I'm sound, there's nothing wrong with me. Help, comfort me, make it go away. I bite my tongue, refrain from speaking, anxiety in my face, which is fully peaking. I spend more time in the bathroom than I did at the party, less time with company, more time at the buffet. Like a game of tug of war constantly being pulled either side. I can't stop these demons from dancing around my brain. They tango with my psyche pirouette on my gut, social media, filters, editing, the urge to purge. I can't crop out. I feel guilty eating. I feel guilty not. Honestly, I'd rather watch food rot. It's not healthy. It's full obsession. Through the neglect of food is my way of self-expression. Mirror, mirror on the wall, if I stop eating, will my waist get small? Mirror, mirror, if I walk a lot, will my excess fat all start to rot? Mirror, mirror, do you see now? I can't stop. Please show me how. Mirror, mirror, I accept defeat. I rest my head on the toilet seat.
One more time for Shami. Judges, scores up. 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.0, a 9.1, an 8.6, a 9.4, and a 9.4. Let's applaud the poet. So we've got Maya Spoken on deck coming up to us now. Let's get those applause started and keep them going all the way up for Chantel DC.
I take a deep breath. One foot after another, I open the doors and I feel uncertainty. My stomach drops as I walk through the halls. I feel anxious walking through the building with the stained glass murals all over. As I walk in, eyes watching me, yet benches empty. And I see a man, legs tied, hands nailed down to a cross with a thorn crown piercing his skull, piercing his thoughts. The smell of the church makes me feel so nauseous. The smell of nightmares haunts me whilst I'm awake. I feel so much pain in this house of God. I hear the children wailing in the cellar down below. I look through all the rooms. I'm trying to find it, but what am I looking for? I know I'm here for a reason. So I start my search by looking through the dark box, the place where you're supposed to confess, thinking someone will tell me the truth and where it is and what I'm looking for. I look through the cellar down below. I look through Bible after Bible, trying to find a clue, trying to find a reason, a purpose almost. Why am I here? And I almost start praying to God, thinking he can really help me this time. Looking through the pages so fast I was stopped. The holy book preaches so loud. All I can hear, all I can read is, if you feel purposeless, ask God to give you wisdom and directions, James chapter 1, verse 5 states. So maybe this book's right. Maybe I need to ask God for direction because that seems to be the only option I have. Because I'm lost. I'm lost in my own thoughts. I'm lost in this dark forest. I don't know where to go. Let me be a sheep and you be my shepherd. Lost in my own thoughts, lost in my own language, lost in the language of the white man. That's it. I can't speak. All I can do is scream. Scream because I am not me, God, please. Give me directions to your disciples who took what was mine. Tell them to give me back what was once mine. I'll do anything. Convert me, dunk me in holy water, baptize me right here, right now. As I go under, I know my skin will burn. But it'll be worth it, won't it? To drench my skin in holy water, I ask for forgiveness, repentance to my sin of being native. As I hear the hymns get louder and louder and louder, I go deaf. Not a sound, not a drum, no language. And all I hear is you. And it feels so fucking wrong. Is this really God? Is this really the God you follow, allowing his own to destroy a whole race? Is this God you follow in disguise, perhaps? Because in these holy walls, children sat in these benches, children taken from their families, children abused by your disciples. How did you let these people live such fucking happy lives? Because blood stains the glass now. Blood stains the red carpet leading to your Jesus. And I can't tempt myself with this conversion. It doesn't feel right. As I grasp for air in this holy cathedral, it starts to burn my throat, and I start to run to the waters to cleanse my body, to cleanse my spirit. And I know what I need to do next.
One more time for Chantel DC. Judges, can I see those scores? Do you need a countdown still? I don't even know if you do. I'll give you one. 3, 2, 1. My heart wasn't really in it. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's okay. It's because I didn't count down properly. That was actually not your fault at all. So in no particular order, we have an 8.9, a 9.0, an 8.9, a 9.0, and a 9.2. Let's keep it going for all of the great poetry we're hearing tonight. On deck, we have Expect coming up to the mic. I was going to say open mic. Can you believe I was about to put that on you guys? Fucking shitty, sorry. Coming up to the mic, we have Maya Spoken. Let's keep it going.
I always wanted a time machine. I wished that with the press of a button, I would be able to relive my favorite moments in ways that would make them last forever. If I could, I would take a trip to the times where my father was still living. I would play outside with my friends until the street lights started shining. If I had a time machine, I would lick the cookie batter off the spoon with my mother and divorce the bitter endings of moments from the sweet taste of the fact that they happened. I always wanted a time machine. I never thought my mind would become one. PTSD is what happens when you spend so long wishing for the ability to go back only for you to get stuck there. Imagine being a computer that stays frozen no matter how many times you hit Control-Alt-Delete. Imagine trying to take new photos only for your phone to tell you there's no storage for new memories. I know what it's like to be the car that stays broken no matter how many mechanics you take it to. I've seen therapist after therapist, and I'm always eventually ghosted or let go. PTSD isn't something you only get when you go to war. I was told that PTSD is not something you can cure. It's something you learn to live with. She's like a family member you just learn to accept no matter how toxic for you she is. There are certain traumas that taught my brain that it could shapeshift, and it decided it felt safer wrapped in the embrace of these changes. Don't get me wrong. I wish that I could be free. But if my mind has to be a time machine, then so be it. I will travel back to the moment that changed everything as many times as I have to relive it, if it means that one of those times I will fight off the uncle who made a mockery of my innocence. Instead, I will make a mockery of his attempt. He will carry the shame that I was never meant to. He will desperately try to escape the memory of the girl that he couldn't assault. Maybe smell my fragrance in the mall and be forced to stop and relive who he chose to be in that moment. Intoxicate himself with therapist after therapist until he throws up a confession. Pick up an art form that allows him to speak on it. Hide it in metaphors and wordplay. Stand before an audience painted in regret and say, I always wanted a time machine.
Let's keep it going for Maya Spoken. Soon we have our penultimate. I'm going to keep using it. Thank you. Poet coming up to the stage. On deck we have Ananya. But in the meantime, again, penultimate. Let's get it going for Expect. Every fucking time. Well, no, you guys, I truly embraced the applaud the poetry, not the points, to like almost a detriment. Judges, 3, 2, 1. Can we get a 9.8? A 9.5? A 9.5? A 9.2? And a 9.7? Every single day I try my best. That's not true. Every single day I try like 80%, but tonight I really am trying my best. Okay, so without further ado, can we get a round of applause for Expect, please?
This is the poem I choose to never remember, so I'm going to read it. It's called Aaron. Suicide sucks. Too late to discuss or instruct, you chose heaven's handcuffs. It's been rough, really. I miss you dearly and blame myself a lot. I could have given more, your decision at my door. It's a shame I cannot clot. At the time, I just could not. But then you shot. A message comes saying what you had committed. The world fell apart. In that moment, it imprinted a new kind of pain that doesn't go away. Your death, now a piece of me, a piece of him, left us like branches in this way. Why have leaves if there's no sun rays? Why achieve if it all decays? This grief weighs heavy, and I was not ready to say goodbye. You left our son to cry. Why would you die as an answer? God grant her free from her agony of living, but now giving the sorrow to us instead. A transposed trauma, And I don't want to admit that you're gone. It's been shit all along, but you don't get to just leave us forever. Death's not an endeavor. It's a never and never, because it always gets better. Some souls are cut so deep, their light bleeds out. Too soon they sleep. Love must surmount. Thank you.
Let's keep it going for expect. Judges, should I ask for scores this time, or are we like over it? Speaking of judges, no, let's take scores first because I'll also immediately forget. Scores, let's go. 3, 2, 1, up. We have a 8.8, an 8.7, a 9.0, a 9.1, and a 9.4. Let's applaud the poetry. So we're getting close. We are into our last poet of this round. Judges, if you're sticking around for the next round and want to go through this again, we would absolutely... Judging, not the poetry. The poetry is fantastic. We'd love you to stick around. If you're not sticking around or do not want to judge for that second round, please just let Matthew Miller or John McCree know, and we will make that work too. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready for this? Can we get a thunderous round of applause for Ananya, please?
A recipe for heartbreak pie. Serving size, this recipe is made for one. Prep time, the second it takes to fall in love with someone who won't give you a second look. Ingredients: one heartbroken poet with a tendency for melodrama, one emotionally unavailable, unattainable beauty who you've met just enough times to make a relationship seem possible. Step 1. I met you in that little bakery down the street. You called me beautiful and looked at me like I was the sweetest thing in a room full of desserts. How could I resist? You were just enough aloof to gain my attention. All my insecurities were drawn to your Bunsen burner flame of affection. You see, I am a hopeless romantic. Quick to fall, quick to break. You can probably guess how this will end. Step 2. Turn up the heat. Make every interaction a chemical reaction till all I feel is your touch and all I need is your love. Step 3. Mix together the ingredients for disaster. Me, overeager and underprepared and desperate for attention. You, overhurt and underloved and looking for a distraction. This is a half-baked disaster. We are a radioactive mixture primed to explode. So set the timer, baby. I will love you with all I've got for as long as I've got you. Step 4. Set aside and wait. They say all you need is time, so I will knead this dough till it stops sticking to my fingers, till you stop sticking in my mind, till I stop hearing your name in every love song on the radio, till all that's left of us is broken and charred in crumbs on the kitchen floor. Step 5. End the relationship. When you catch them lying or cheating or checking out someone else's buns. Step 6. Clean up my messes. Pack up the leftovers of my dignity, scrape the remains of my heart off linoleum tile, drown my sorrows in cookie dough ice cream and bad decisions, swear off love forever until I go back to that little bakery down the street and meet the next one to make my heart flutter. You see, I am a hopeful romantic. Quick to fall, quick to break. This is a recipe I've perfected over many takes. Heartbreak pie is a dessert all too common at my table.
Let's keep it going for Ananya. Hope is nice, right? Yeah. I said, well, what is that? I'm unfamiliar. Oh, I said hope is nice. And you said what? As if you weren't familiar with the subject. Judges, 3, 2, 1, scores up, please. We have a 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.2, a 9.2, and a 9.4. All right, so that brings us to the end of our first bout. Stick around. So guys, just before I let you take a little bit of a break, we're going to do a 10-minute. We've got a fantastic second bout coming up with Tawaham as your host. They probably won't forget to take the scores, so that will be good for everybody involved. So yeah, hard 10, big thing, you guys, if you do smoke, much like myself, please, please, please don't smoke out in front of the venue. Go around into the alley. They've been really, really kind to us, and they don't have a ton of hard rules, but that is definitely one of them. 10 minutes. Again, judges, if you're not wanting to or not able to judge for the next round, please just let us know. Much appreciated. And can you give yourselves a big old round of applause, too? And then can you give me a big old round of applause, too? Thank you. See you in 10.